This is the KitchensinkWP Podcast, episode 448.
I program my home computer.
We have a server crash. 404 error. Page not found. Links aren't working. System is crashing. System is crashing. System is crashing.
Your old HTML website. Barely alive. We have the technology. We have WordPress. A new website. Better than it was before. Better. Stronger. Faster.
Why, hello everybody, this is Adam Silver, the host of the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. All right, upcoming events. No WordCamps next weekend, sadly, but there is a International Translation Day set for September 28th, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it's September 28th, 2022. It's an International Translation Day. I think I said that. There's a link in the show notes about this over at make.wordpress.org, and I just want to let you know. So that is pretty cool. So if you can translate, if you speak multiple languages, I believe your services and expertise may come in handy here. So by all means, do that if you want. Okay. Moving on, segment one. In the news, two things here. Advanced Custom Fields 6.0 has been released, ACF as we call it. It's a brand new, fresh UI, some block improvements, repeater pagination, and a lot more per the post. I'll link to that in the show notes as well. We have over my agency a lifetime license holder, serial, I guess, is what license, I guess, is what it is. Anyway, so I think there's an upgrade fee, possibly a fee for it if you don't have that. Let me double check here for you. Documentation purchase. Just if you're looking to buy it brand new right now, it's $50 a year for one site, 10 sites, $150, agency unlimited, $250. So, check it out. Definitely part of our standard stack when we need to do custom fields. ACF is the one you want to go with, in my opinion. All right. Is that it in the news? Oh, one more thing in the news. SiteGround launched new managed EDD hosting. So EDD is Easy Digital Downloads. Was at one point owned by Sandhills. Sandhills was acquired by Automotive, but now SiteGround has a connection to EDD, whereas a lot of companies are doing WooCommerce managed support and services. Now EDD for Easy Digital Downloads and SiteGround have teamed up. So apparently plans range from about $3 a month for one site to $8 per month for unlimited websites. But again, there'll be a link in the show notes for that if you're interested in looking into that. Is that it for the news? Yeah, that is for the news. Moving on now to the segment 2, meat and potatoes of this week's episode. How to approach and attend conferences is the topic, because now that conferences and WordCamps are back, if you will, here in the States and internationally, I thought it might be a good time to discuss how to best attend a conference, whether it be local in your backyard or distant based on travel. It could be your first or it could be your 50th conference. So I'm going to break this down into 4 sections, starting with, let's go with pre-conference. Now, this is when you sign up for the conference. You pay your money and you're going to go. Before all that happens, or the minute that you pay because you want to go anyways, you're going to want to review the agenda. Now, this is important because it gives you the idea of what topics are going to be discussed, obviously, the schedule, what's going on, who's speaking, what sessions you really want to attend. You can also maybe write down the location, room to start and stop, end times kind of thing. And you might also be able to, kind of give feedback or ask questions that you want answered, or as well as if you have expertise in the area, maybe overlapping, that may be helpful for you in the audience as well. You also might know the speaker. Might be kind of neat to see that as well. If you can, the second thing here for pre-conferences, review the attendees list if it's available. Now, at WordCamps, it's usually available. There's always a page for that. Not everyone wants to be on that list. You can opt out for that as well. Because the reason you want to review it is you might want to identify who you want to connect with. If you don't know someone, you want to reach out and make a new connection, you can do that in advance. Maybe do it through the website or through LinkedIn and introduce yourself in a very casual pre-conference way. So because during the conferences, things get hectic. And if you're trying to schedule a meeting, it could be hard to do, unless you do it ahead of time. So definitely review the attendees list if available. Reach out to those who you're trying to connect with and meet. Now, during the conference, section 2 here, first thing is checking in. When you go to check in, as we all have done this, if you've gone to a handful of conferences, check-ins can be really awkward and strange. Many of them have been in the past disorganized, so there's always some sort of chaos that usually happens. So here's a pro tip from me to you. Be kind to everyone when you walk in, because you know what? a lot of those people are volunteers. Some conferences, people get paid, yes, but in WordCamp space, where I spend a lot of time, no one's getting paid. So just be nice and be patient and just plan for the time frame that it may take you to check in. You don't want to leave a bad impression with, attitude or frustration at someone when it's really not their fault. Things happen. Things come up all the time. That person behind the table might have had a bad morning. We don't know. You just don't know. So be nice, be kind, and plan for a delay. Okay. Second thing here during the conference is eating. Snacks, coffee. Yeah, it's going to be there after you check in. And I'm all over that. I need my coffee in the morning. If there's warm coffee cake or a fresh cinnamon roll, look out. But then again, you do you. Do what works for you. Now, I try not to eat too much sugar, just me in general, but the last thing you want to do is pass out from lack of energy and nutrition. So if you need to bring snacks, bring snacks. Usually isn't a problem, but don't leave garbage in random places. Pick up after yourself, and don't waste food. If there's food there for you, like bagels and cinnamon rolls and that stuff that's usually there for hotels, take what you're going to eat, but don't waste it. I just don't like to see that. I see it all the time. Now, on the topic of meals, during the lunch break, my recommendation, sit with strangers, separate from your travel companions, your colleagues. I know it's super comfortable to go with people that you already know, but, if you want to get to know other people and kind of get out of your little, just a network of familiarity, sit with some strangers or sit at a table by yourself and let people come to you as well. I do that all the time. And worst case scenario, you sit by yourself, you can reflect and you can people watch. Also kind of fun. Okay. Now, also during the conference, attending sessions. Now, if you're unsure of a topic, the relevance and how it may relate to your life or what you're doing in the industry, perhaps sit in the back so you can politely and quietly exit if needed. That's my tip there. Now, if the session is in your area that you are engaged, sit towards the front, be present, focused. Now, I know as a speaker, we like eye contact. We want to get visual cues that people are connecting with us. They appreciate the content, etc. So sit more towards the front. Sitting in the middle, kind of an empty space there, kind of a dead man's zone, only because, if it's after lunch, you might fall asleep. That's never good. And leaving could be also difficult to do without squeezing through people or making yourself noticed. You kind of want to not be noticed in one aspect. Okay, so there's that. Now, also during the sessions, take notes. Highly recommend this. Taking notes, but perhaps I recommend in written format. Because if you have a laptop, you might type faster, but you're also very apt to check email, get pinged on Slack, and you're there physically, but all of a sudden you're going down a rabbit hole of work, and you're there at the conference to learn something new, ideally, right? Now, I just attended recently, last week, Digital Summit Raleigh. I took a small notebook that I got from WordCamp US. Thank you very much, Lifter LMS. I mean, it's totally tiny. I took that and a pen, and that was it. So I was really present. I took notes in that. I took, a couple lines, couple words from the 4 or 5 sessions I went to, and that was it. And it worked really well for me. Okay. What else? Oh, during the conference also, use social media. You want to engage here. If you're on Twitter, use Twitter. If you're on LinkedIn, use LinkedIn. Kind of be where you need to be and where the audience is going to be as well. There also might be a hashtag from the conference in particular as well. And that way you can follow it ahead of time. This is pre-conference. You can follow it during the conference to see what's going on, and you can participate as well. Okay. Now, the third area here, we had pre-conference, during the conference, and now during breaks and networking. Now, when you're first standing around talking to people during a break or networking, you want to be open for yourself and others. Now, what I mean by that is this. First and foremost, if you're an introvert like me, I'm kidding. I couldn't even say that without smiling. Okay, so if you're an introvert, you might find it tough to meet new people. And that said, yes, it can be really hard, but it is a necessity. So you want to be open for others as well. So if you're in a circle of people, okay, let's say you're in the circle, and you kind of want, if you see someone who might be uncomfortable looking to kind of butt in, if you will, physically open your body. Make your body like a doorway. Just invite them in. It's easy to do, and it costs you nothing. And then introduce yourself, either off to the side, say, hey, my name is so-and-so, or when the moment presents itself, you can say, hey, I'm Adam, reach across, shake a hand, whatever it may be, and introduce that person to the rest of the group if you don't know them, if you just met them as well. So definitely not the easiest thing to do, but I think it's important to do as well. Okay. Also, during the breaks and networking, burnout and chill time. Now, take it if you need it. Step outside, recharge. Again, overwhelm can happen to the best of us. There's nothing wrong with just stepping away from the conference. If it's in a hotel and you have a room there, go to your room and relax for a half an hour. It's nothing wrong with that. Don't feel guilty. No shame in it whatsoever. I know people do it all the time. Lastly, in the breaks and networking section here, business cards. Do you need to bring them with you? Yes or no? Some say business cards. Who uses those? Well, I do. I take a handful, maybe, I don't know, maybe more, maybe 10 or 12, and I hand them out. I don't make it, awkwardly old fashioned like it's 15, 20 years ago. But if someone asks me for a card or my information, I have a card, and there you go. It's simple. And that's actually still one of the cheapest ways, in my opinion, to kind of just leave an impression, because if your card is kind of cool looking, I think mine is, it's kind of neat. People like it. Mine has a picture of the beach with an umbrella, and it says Concierge WP, relax, we got this. Anyway, so business cards, yes, take some. You don't need too many. And also for some raffles, it's easier just to have a card than fill out a little piece of paper. So there you go. And the fourth area here is the post-conference. Now this is important too. Post is equally as important across the board here. You want to follow up. It goes without saying, make sure you follow up immediately, usually 24, 36 hours maximum, with any of the contacts you might have made at the conference. It can be overwhelming at large conferences, at large events to have this happen, but if you wait too long, people are going to forget who you are. You don't want that to happen, especially if you're trying to connect in a business sense, right? So definitely follow up that way. Email, if you really want to touch someone, kind of personally, you can always just, write a letter, like send a note on paper, pen, which is old school, but I love it. So there's that. Also in follow-up and post-conference is share photos. If you have photos from the conference, write a blog post, share the photos, or use social media once again, okay? So there you have it. Those are my 4 sections and ways I think you can, prepare and attend conferences moving into 2023. So we're almost down to 2022. So, it's kind of crazy. We're at the end of September, and it is crazy that 3 more months and we'll be into a new year already. So there you go. All right. Oh, last thing, bonus thing. I forgot to mention this. Dress comfortably. Dress appropriately, but comfortably, and just because if you're going to be on your feet a lot or sitting around, and bring layers. More often than not, conference rooms in hotels are freezing cold. So keep that in mind. Okay. Segment 3, moving on here. Tip and tool of the week. This week's tip is it's a service called Penpot, Penpot. It's an open source design and prototyping platform. It's just like Figma, apparently. But now that Figma has been acquired by Adobe for $20 billion, some people want to go more open source. So I found this one out there online called Penpot. It's over at, if I'm not mistaken, it is at penpot.app. APP. So there you go. Check it out if you're interested in that. All right, I'm going to wrap it up here. If you have any questions, go ahead and send it in via email, adam@KitchensinkWP.com, or use that speak pipe function of the website. If you want to support the show, you can become a Patreon. That'd be awesome. KitchensinkWP.com/Patreon. You can sponsor the show. There's a form on the website. Would love to have you on board there. Thanks for listening. See you next week. Now go out and do some awesome things with WordPress. All right? Bye-bye.